we will talk about the Dakar disaster. This disaster occurred in April 2013 in Savar, Bangladesh. So firstly, we will present this tragedy, which was the result of negligence of managers' workshop, and then we will show why this situation is unethical and its consequences. So now, a short presentation of the disaster. The collapse of Rana Plaza caused the death of more than 1,100 persons and 2,500 survivors. This building, normally designed to be a shopping center with offices, housed several garment workshops working for international brands such as Mango, Primark or Benetton, for example. An inquiry has concluded that vibrations provoked by big generators starting during a power cut were the cause of the building's collapse, which was already fragile. However, evacuation instructions had been given the day before the arrival of many cracks, but these were ignored. More than 5,000 employees were working in dismal conditions. According to the civil security, several floors of the building were added to the initial structure without any building permits. The fires were very frequent there because of defectuous constructions and the electrical network which were not maintained. Therefore, there are two ethical blindness. So first, abominable working conditions in textile factories in Bangladesh. This is an important crisis for the fashion giants. They didn't expect that many people would revolt and finally open their eyes to the abominable working conditions of Bangladeshis. Weak wages, abusive hours, almost non-existent safety and health, and violation of human rights, for example. 2 seconds, the non-governmental organization, so the NGO, knew the abominable working conditions of the Bangladeshis, a situation that the NGO already know but couldn't put at the forefront. This disaster has therefore put a spotlight on the deplorable manufacturing process of Western clothing. Thanks to this event, the NGO have got large names in the textile industry to make a commitment to improve working conditions in factories. This is the case for Carrefour, C&A, Benetton, Inditex, which owns Zara, PVH, which owns Calvin Klein, H&M or Marks & Spencer brands that have agreed to sign their agreement.
Second part of the video. Solution brought 2 years later concerning the safety of Bangladeshi factories. Implementation of the agreement on building safety and fire protection in Bangladesh, which NGO have been calling for 4 years. Initiated by the Bangladeshi government, factory owners and employees, and placed under the auspices of the International Labour Organization. It has been signed by 190 brands, which have also donated money for its implementation. Reinforcement of the inspection by independent engineers. More than 1,250 factories were, and some 950 correction plans could be established. Major American distributors like Walmart, Gap have also taken a safety initiative. The Alliance for the Safety and Bangladeshi Workers, denounced by the NGO, who consider the guarantees insufficient. This alliance, however, conducted 600 inspections in the US brand subcontractors. 20 factories had to be closed because of their dangerous workers' working condition progress, but still insufficient. Bangladesh has about 4 million workers in the textile sector, 80% of whom are women, since the disaster of Rana Plaza. Programs to improve working conditions have been carried out, in particular by the ELO. But the daily life of the workers remained more difficult after the report released on April 22 by the NGO Human Rights Watch. The latter maintained with 160 workers in 44 garment workshop, who suffered physical assault, insults, hours additional forced maternity leave, refusal of payment maternity leave, and non-payment in full of all or a part of their salary or bonus. The trade union rights implemented in Bangladesh, but many workers in the formation of trade unions to deal with such violation are threatened, intimidated, dismissed, and sometimes physically attacked on the part of the management of workshop or the men of principal pay, stressed the NGO. The increase of minimum wage to 50 euro per month, insufficient cost for many events, remains insufficient because still a decent salary, estimated at 260 euro, according to the collective ethics on the label. Despite this solution, it is necessary to redouble efforts again. Compensation for victims remains incomplete. To date, the Rana Plaza Donors Trust Fund, which under the protection of the ELO has raised $24 million from clothing brands out of the $30 million that fund managers consider necessary to compensate families dead and injured workers and workers. NGO that there is a weakness of the donation common to most brands. They see there a lack of responsibility on the part of the companies giving orders and an additional difficulty for the victim. Some companies such as Mongo, Inditex, Zara or Camailleux have not reported the amounts paid. Survivor of the tragedy also told Human Rights Watch that the compensation received so far was not enough to cover their medical expenses and the loss of their livelihoods. In conclusion, these companies aim to look for low-cost production, which entails risks to reduce expenses and to be more competitive. We give up and close our eyes on safety, which itself has a cost. For rich countries to be able to consume more without spending more, for purchasing power to increase without increasing wage, and for inflation to be mastered in these countries. It's necessary for it to have poor countries that remain to continue to produce. Should we boycott clothes made in Bangladesh? The answer is no, is not so simple. On the one hand, the boycott would deprive the workers on their work, but on the other hand, as long as people are going to throw themselves on fashion at a low price, nothing will change in these overexploited countries. It should therefore improve working conditions, increases wages, stop all unsafe practices, no longer as products that are harmful to workers' health, no longer to wait for fashion. If it's so cheap, it's up to us to be consumers by focusing on barter, recycling, dressing rooms, sales depots, and ethical fashion clothes.